He trusted the system, and the system killed him.
Tonight at 5, what a grieving Wisconsin family wants lawmakers to do to combat deaths they say are entirely preventable.
Plus, why some Wisconsinites are sounding the alarm over the state's ability to meet federal requirements for food share. You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
And good evening. Thanks for staying with us.
Boy, it was another mild day today. Plus,
felt
the
good out
sunshine
there.
felt very nice outside. Yep, let's check in with meteorologist Blaise Keller. It's going to get warmer from here, right, Blaise?
That's right. 50s return by Valentine's Day, and they're going to stick around through the start of next week. We are in the 40s right now in Dodgeville. Again, those 50s just around the corner. Doesn't feel like the 40s, though. It feels more like 36 in Dodgeville as we take a live look in our Upland Hill Skycam. Sun beginning to set here. Some of that snow already starting to melt, becoming less of a pack across southern Wisconsin as we get into those temperatures above freezing. We're at 42 in Platteville, 39 in Janesville, 37 in Madison, 34 in Watoma. We're a little bit cooler than yesterday, but as I just mentioned, we are going to start to warm on up as we go into your Valentine's Day weekend. We normally get into the 50s by the 22nd of February in the Madison area, so we're going to do it a little bit sooner than when we would normally get into those 50s, but they're not going to last for terribly long. We'll take a look at how long the 50s stick around for and how many chances for rain, snow, or a mix of both are in the extended forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, Blaise, thank you. One person is dead after a crash on I-94. This was near Tomah last night. The call came in just before 8 o'clock. The State Patrol says a car and semi collided and both vehicles caught fire. The car's driver died. That crash remains under investigation.
A man says he was pistol whipped, beaten, and shot during an attack in Madison. Just after 9 Friday night, police officers responded to Muirfield Road on the city's west side for a disturbance. EMS took the 18-year-old victim to the hospital. Police say he was treated for a gunshot wound and he is expected to survive. Police believe this incident was targeted. They have yet to make an arrest in the case.
Well, today at the state capitol, lawmakers heard from the family of a 22-year-old man who died because he couldn't afford his medication. Cole Schmidtneck died in January of 2024 after suffering an asthma attack that sent him into cardiac arrest. Days earlier, he had gone to the pharmacy to pick up his medicine, which typically cost him about $5. But the pharmacy benefits manager had moved Cole's medicine to a different tier in his plan, and the new price was more than $500. So Cole couldn't afford it and simply left the pharmacy without his medicine. And now Cole's Law would create guardrails on pharmacy benefits managers, aiming to protect patients from tactics that block access to their prescriptions. Speaking before lawmakers in favor of the bill today, Cole's mother and aunt.
He wasn't offered health care. He was handed a price.
I am begging you, please don't let another family go through what ours has. Please don't let another parent bury their child because a corporation decided profits matter more than people.
The bill has bipartisan support in both the Senate and the Assembly.
Elsewhere at the Capitol, members of Wisconsin's Supreme Court heard arguments today in a case about grants for students of color.
And our Sarah Carlson joins us with what's at the center of the case and the points made from lawyers on both sides. Sarah?
Susan and Eric, justices heard the case that several taxpayers are making against the Higher Educational Aids Board. This examines whether Wisconsin's Minority Undergraduate Retention Grant statute violates state or federal equal protection guarantees, and also whether plaintiffs have standing to bring the challenge at all. At the center of this case is a state financial aid program that provides need-based grants to certain undergrad students. Those include Black, Indigenous, Hispanic, and some Southeast Asian students. Today in court, we heard the lawyer for the Higher Educational Aids Board, which oversees that program, argue the plaintiffs don't have standing and the program does not violate the Constitution.
This is not a situation where we're talking about spots at Harvard, and those spots are super competed for, and every spot that a minority candidate gets, that means somebody else has to pay the price. This is truly just a symbolic injury, if anything.
The board's lawyer also said the attrition rates for some students of color present a compelling interest in equal educational opportunity, but the plaintiff's lawyer attacked that claim.
This is not an equal educational opportunity. It's an opportunity available to some races and not to others. So how they can claim that an unequal, racially discriminatory scholarship program furthers an interest in equal educational opportunity is, to me, incoherent. Now, I think
The court typically releases its opinions by the end of its session in the summer. Susan and Eric, back to you.
Sarah, thank you. Dr. Eric Wilcox will temporarily lead UW-Madison after the university announced that Chancellor Jennifer Mnuchin will leave at the end of the semester for Columbia University. Wilcox currently serves as the dean of UW's College of Letters and Science. He will take over for Chancellor Mnuchin on May 17th. Wilcox has led the school's largest college now for nearly 6 years and previously served as the university's interim provost in 2023. Wilcox's time at UW started back in 1995 when he served as a lecturer in the Department of Astronomy.
More local news now. The Sun Prairie Planning Commission unanimously voted against the Derby District proposal. The plan would have included a Hilldale-style mall, apartments, senior living facilities, a pool, and more. It would have been on property bordered by Windsor Street, St. Albert the Great Drive, and Highway 19.
Today, agriculture and hunger relief groups urged state lawmakers to supply millions of dollars in food share funding to the state.
News 3 Now's Jalen Banks joins us with what they had to say. Jalen?
Susan and Eric, since the passage of the Big Beautiful Bill, there have been a slew of adjustments for many people involved with food share benefits in our state. And in today's briefing, those groups hope to shed light on the urgent need for food share funding. The State Department of Health Services estimates that just over $69 million is needed to implement the changes to food share operations since the passage of the Big Beautiful Bill.
This is why this request is supported by such a broad coalition. Today, we're asking lawmakers, that's the governor, Republican leaders, Democratic leaders, all members of the legislature, to work together now to bring this funding to the floor promptly.
This will include just over $32 million to cover administrative costs after those costs shifted from 50% to 75% for states after the passage of the bill. $16 million for additional county staff and DHS staff positions. This aims to keep the food share error rate low. And just under $21 million to support the FSEP program, which helps people reach the newly required work requirements for food share.
And now that there is more work, there are more people who need to do more things. It is extremely important that we have the workers in place to make sure that everybody who is coming through the door understands what they need to do and can do it on deadlines so that their food share is not disrupted.
According to DHS, just under 80,000 food share recipients across Dane, Rock, Sauk, and Columbia counties lost all or some of their food share benefits. And food share benefits not only impact those buying the food, but those who make it as well.
Food share brings more than $1 billion of spending power into our state every year. That flows not only through grocery stores, but back through cheese plants and into dairy farms like the one my family owns. This is particularly true for small processors like us and mid-sized processors. We don't have the ability to absorb shocks to the system the way that larger companies do.
Now, for more on food share statistics in our state, you can find them in the article for this story.
All right, Jalen, thank you. And still headed, 5 senators consider laws that would restrict the ability of transgender children to access certain health care and use their preferred pronouns.
Ellie LaLiberte shows us the arguments for and against the legislation and the likelihood that it actually passes.
Plus, will it be a warm Valentine's Day? Blaze tells us when he returns with your complete First Warn forecast.
And a familiar face returns to his old job on the Packers coaching staff as Jordan Love gets a new position coach. Our Jason Wilde has the story from Green Bay.
And all 3 major indices in the red. Midweek trading on Wall Street, the Dow loses 67, the Nasdaq falls 36 points, S&P closes down about 1/3 of a point. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5, moving forward.
Today, the state Senate took up 5 bills related to transgender kids.
News 3 Now political reporter Ellie LaLiberte was at the Capitol and breaks down this legislation.
The legislation on the floor Wednesday ranged from minors needing parental consent to change their pronouns at school, to barring transgender athletes from competing in girls' sports, and to prohibiting gender-affirming medical intervention for minors.
I think it's a common sense bill.
5 bills on the Senate floor Wednesday.
The vote is no.
Drawing debate and backlash from advocates and allies of the transgender community.
We are hearing directly from families that this is causing real pain for the kids in their lives and causing a lot of fear and uncertainty. teeth.
I would argue here in Wisconsin is this legislation is needed more now than ever.
Wisconsin Family Action testified in favor of one of the bills in committee.
We truly do believe that the transgender surgeries as well as hormones, specifically for minors, they're not promoting truth of one being in their biological gender, but it also causes lots of long-term harm, lots of long-term pain.
However, it's extremely unlikely these 5 bills will become law.
Governor Evers will veto all 5 of these bills. They will not become law this session.
But Fair Wisconsin argues they still cause harm.
Even just introducing them has a negative impact on mental health of trans kids. We are already living in a country where a federal administration is attacking things like gender affirming care and weaponizing trans kids all the time.
All 5 of these bills passed in the state Senate along party lines. 4 will now head to the governor's desk where they are likely to be struck down. The other is scheduled to be voted on during Thursday's assembly floor session. Reporting at the Wisconsin State Capitol, Ellie LaLiberte, News 3 Now.
All right, thank you, Ellie. Let's turn to weather now. Blaze is back with the forecast, and the melting continues. The snow is going to be long gone soon.
That's right, and that ice is going to become much more thin on area lakes. So please be careful, especially the second half of next week as temperatures climb into the 50s. Our overnight lows, some of them not even getting to freezing. So we're not really going to be building any ice, and the nights that we do, it's probably not going to be to the extent of the ice that we melted during the day. So we are looking at a warm up as we go into your Valentine's Day weekend after a light mixed chance there Thursday morning. I think we become much more active after Valentine's Day. I think our atmospheric jet, the jet stream, starts moving in systems, especially after Valentine's Day, the first one into the middle of next week. Now tonight, we're going to range from the low teens around Watoma to Fond du Lac into those upper 20s to low 30s out across southwestern Wisconsin. That's likely where we're going to be a little bit more cloudy through the overnight hours and where we will see that rain-snow mix chance as we go into the mid to late morning hours on Thursday. So folks in Crawford, Grant, Richland, Iowa, and Lafayette counties especially, we're going to have the best chance for that emphasis on the light mix Thursday morning. The clouds will move on out of here by the time we go into the early afternoon. Temperatures rebounding back into those low to mid 40s across southwestern Wisconsin. A little bit cooler further north and east, but any mix that we do see pretty much across all of southern Wisconsin will melt as temperatures get above freezing and get into those 40s across southwestern Wisconsin. And even warmer temperatures are set to arrive as we go Saturday onward. Valentine's Day, that following Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, possibly lingering into Wednesday of next week, the upper 40s to low 50s, mid 50s by Tuesday. Coming a little bit sooner than when we would normally ease into the 50s, which is about late February. But for some, after that prolonged cool period in January, we have been waiting for these 50s. And they'll stick around for about 4 or 5 days, doing a lot of melting during the day, and our overnight lows, again, not getting into that freezing mark. We're going to be chipping away at the ice. So please be careful into the second half of next week. Now, the second half of next week is also when we start to see, I think, an uptick in activity. The first is going to arrive as we go Tuesday into Wednesday. This system is one that I'm carefully watching. I think even if it were to trend a little bit further north, I think it's a little bit too early for any severe weather, but we could squeeze out maybe a thunderstorm or two. Certainly the atmosphere is trying. A little bit more of that atmospheric energy will be just off to our south in parts of Iowa and Illinois. If you don't want thunderstorms, you want this to continue to trend further south, which is what I would really like to do because I don't want to deal with severe weather this early in the season. And it has been for the last couple of runs, so that's what I want to see. And that would bring us more of the rain and mix and possibly snow than consistent rain as we go Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. On the backside of that, temperatures will start to cool on down. But again, I think even as we go into that following weekend and that following week, I still think we see an uptick in weather systems moving through the Midwest. So 50 starting Saturday, overnight lows nearing 40 by next Tuesday. So that ice is really going to get thin here by Thursday and Friday of next week. But near perfect conditions for Valentine's Day weekend, 50s.
Put a heart on that.
I know. Yeah. That is my Valentine's gift to all of you. But we really could be in a much different situation for Valentine's Day. So we're really lucking out this year.
All right, we'll take it, Blaze. Thank you.
Thank you, Blaze. Well, don't forget the first round of nominations for this year's Best of Madison are underway through the entire month of February. You can nominate Eric Franke or any person, place, or thing to
Please do. Please do.
in a wide variety of categories.
Now, this round is write-in only. You can vote once a day in each category per valid email address. She spells it S-I-M-A-N. You can also buy tickets to our Best of Business Luncheon on our website, channel3000.com.
Well, there have been changes in recent weeks with the Packers coaching staff, including new defensive coordinator in Jonathan Gannon.
That's right. And the changes don't stop there. Our News 3 Now Packers senior writer Jason Wilde tells us about a familiar hire on offense.
The Green Bay Packers have a new quarterbacks coach. Well, sort of new. He's actually on his third tour of duty with the Packers, and it began a year ago. Luke Getsy takes over as Jordan Love's position coach. Luke Getsy started with the Packers way back in 2014 as a young quality control coach. Then he coached wide receivers. Then he coached quarterbacks. Then he left for a job at Mississippi State. Then he came back under Matt LaFleur. Then he left again for opportunities with the Chicago Bears and with the Las Vegas Raiders. Then he came back last season after those two opportunities didn't work out. He was the senior offensive assistant, which sounds like kind of a nebulous title. Turns out he spent a lot of his time in the quarterback room, and according to Jordan Love, has been a critical piece of his development.
You know, Getsy's a guy who's in the quarterback room with us every day. So he's done a great job just, helping out. He helps Matt out a lot with game planning and things like that. But, I got a lot of love for Getsy. He was my quarterback coach my first couple years here in the league. And so we got a great relationship. But, yeah, he's a guy who's in there with us every day in the quarterback room.
So Getsy was Love's position coach in 2020 and 2021, Love's first two seasons in the league. Also happened to coincide with Aaron Rodgers winning back-to-back MVP awards, his third and fourth, respectively. Now he takes over for Sean Mannion, and he will coach not only Jordan Love, but whoever ends up being the Packers' next backup quarterback, as they expect Malik Willis to leave in free agency. We'll have that story and everything else Packers covered on our website, channel3000.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for the Packers newsletter, which delivers our coverage directly to your inbox. In Green Bay, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
Thank you, Jason. Up next at 5, why doctors are warning of a dangerous fungus spreading across the U.S. and how many cases were reported in Wisconsin last year.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5, moving forward.
Welcome back. In national news, the House is set to vote on the Save America Act.
It would implement strict new requirements for registering to vote and casting ballots. Democrats warn it would disenfranchise millions of eligible voters by requiring documentation that shows proof of citizenship, like a passport or a birth certificate, to register to vote in federal elections. It would also implement ID requirements for voting itself. Republicans say the measure is a reasonable way to prevent people who are not citizens from casting ballots, even though such instances are exceedingly rare.
Earlier on Capitol Hill, members of a House committee grilled Attorney General Pam Bondi over the DOJ's handling of the Epstein files. Survivors of Epstein's abuse have slammed the Justice Department after some sensitive information about them was not redacted in publicly released materials, while details about potential co-conspirators was concealed. We heard similar complaints from lawmakers at today's hearing.
He's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child sex trafficking.
Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath.
After the hearing, Republican Congressman Thomas Massie said Bondi dodged the tough questions, while the Republican chairman of the committee, Jim Jordan of Ohio, said the Department of Justice is doing the best they can.
FBI agents investigating Nancy Guthrie's disappearance are searching today the area around her home. Overnight, the FBI searched the home of a person in Rio Rico, Arizona. They released him hours later. This comes a day after the FBI released images and video from outside Nancy Guthrie's home. It showed a person who appears to be armed messing with her home security camera. Guthrie was last seen 11 days ago.
And the Federal Aviation Administration has now lifted the shutdown of airspace over El Paso. The unprecedented move grounded all flights up to 18,000 feet around the city, effectively shutting down the city's airport. The closure reportedly stemmed from the Pentagon's plans to test a laser that would be used to shoot down Mexican cartel drones. It comes after the anti-drone technology was launched near the southern border earlier this week to shoot down what appeared to be foreign drones. The flying material turned out to be a party balloon.
A dangerous fungus is spreading across hospitals and nursing homes nationwide. The CDC says there were more than 7,000 reported cases of Candida auris in the U.S. last year. That is a sharp increase from just a few years ago. The deadly infection poses the greatest risk to people with underlying sicknesses. There are drug-resistant forms of auris, making it very difficult to treat. The Department of Health Services shows numbers have been increasing in Wisconsin as well. In 2020, there were 0 cases, but cases emerged and grew over the years, and last year, there were 26 cases in the Badger State. We'll get a final check of the weather when we come back.
Coming up tonight on News 3 Now at 6, Wisconsin state senators set to vote on a bill that would define grooming in Wisconsin. Why lawmakers say if signed into law, it would hold adults more responsible for their actions.
And later tonight at 10, a sneak peek behind the scenes of Kimberly Akimbo, which is currently playing at the Overture Center. We'll show you the secret to making it look like the actors are ice skating. That's coming up in just a few hours on News 3 Now at 10.
Blaze is back. Final check of the forecast.
Quiet tonight. We will become more cloudy here as we get closer to the midnight hour, but we'll still hang out in those 30s for the next several hours, eventually settling into those 20s overnight. Again, mostly cloudy conditions with a little bit of a rain-snow mix possible across southwestern Wisconsin through the late morning hours on Thursday, but we are above freezing, flirting with the 40s. We'll be in the mid-40s on Friday, 50s, Saturday, Valentine's Day through that following Tuesday, possibly into Wednesday, and that's when we'll see our first chance for some rain as we go into the middle of next week.
All right, enjoy it. Thank you, Blaze, and thanks for watching, everybody, tonight at 5.
We'll be back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6. Stay tuned.